Facebook. Girls, do you want to give everybody a wave? Give everyone, there you go. So basically we're on the cameras here. Last week we discussed about the Kilimanjaro. Do you remember the facts that we had from Kilimanjaro?
Yeah.
There's one of the one of the freestanding mountains that we had in Africa, and one of our listeners actually got in touch. Did you know? One of our listeners who was in Abu Dhabi got in touch and said, "Oh, I've actually climbed that mountain." So we have on our telephone line right away. We have a sister on the line. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Alaikum salam.
Okay, sister,
Yes.
can you introduce yourself? Where are you calling from and what's your name?
I'm calling from the UAE, from Abu Dhabi, the capital city, but I'm from Spain.
Okay, right. So you're Spanish. And what's your name, sister?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. What's your name?
My name is Maria. My name is Maria,
MashaAllah.
and I'm born and bred in
Maria
born and
Alonso.
bred in Spain, but Antoras Alonso. Yes.
Fantastic. So you're born in Spain.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. And tell me a little bit about yourself. How have you got in touch, and how have you? What made you call in today about Kilimanjaro? Have you been listening into our shows?
I've been listening to your show, and I was very inspired and impressed by Abdullah's factual talk about Mountain Kibo, and I thought I need to call these guys and encourage them to ascend the Kilimanjaro.
Fantastic. So you heard last week's show, and last week Abdullah was giving the facts about Kilimanjaro and Africa really, and it came up on air about the freestanding mountain. So before we speak to you about your experience of climbing the mountain, tell us, how are you linked? You're in Abu Dhabi, your Spanish heritage there. How are you linked with Wolverhampton?
Yes. 20 years ago, in next September, 20 years ago, I decided to leave my hometown, and I decided to go to the UK to find a different path from a family business, which I had tried. So I applied to the University of Wolverhampton, and I thought, okay, maybe if I go there, maybe I have clearer idea of what I want to do and pursue in life. So I went there, and initially it was meant to be a one-off year. Eventually they became 10 years because I got very bonded to Wolverhampton, and I for life. I met my best friend, my husband at university, and all that. So I potential teaching. I taught part-time. I was a language assistant high school in Penn for a year. So the head of department, Miss Anne-Marie Darby, saw a potential in me, and she also suggested for me to pursue the teaching career. So I did that. So I taught in different schools in England, East Midlands, then North London. A little bit before London, I taught in the Southeast for half a year. So yes, I'm very connected to Wolverhampton. It'll always a place where my life. Quite happy to hear these youth ambitious experiences such as trekking Kilimanjaro.
Fantastic. So basically, you have a long-standing relationship with Wolverhampton and the people. So you know Wolverhampton. You hear at Wolverhampton University, and this is a really inspiration that you are still connected, and we're really happy to hear from you. So what we'd like to know is, tell us about your trip up Kilimanjaro and how it was. How did you find this?
Okay. First of all, my husband, I met him in the UK. but he's born and bred in Tanzania. He went to university in the UK. So after a few years, I had met him after. I started visiting Tanzania, and I did some fundraising events, like running events outside my comfort zone, because I'm not a professional runner, with the purpose of fundraising money, some schools, some orphans in southern Tanzania. And having visited Tanzania a few times also grew in me like an appealing for pursuing the climb, you know.
Yep.
I thought that was an experience, a life, is something I would want to do at some point. Then life moved on. I got children. I continue with my full-time teaching. So combining the parenting with the full-time teaching made me put that dream on hold.
Okay, I see.
However, over a year ago, my husband knew that I had that dream at the back of my head, and he told me, you should do it.
What a
Don't
great
give up.
person. What a supportive
Do it.
person. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, and he told me I fully will the girls, and I'm grateful. I know what I have, and I appreciate. So, in terms of training, I would say they already haven't, based on the program the other day. I could see both of them have done some trekking, and it wasn't too challenging for them. Basically, you have to that will for trying something new, to be a little bit fit in terms of expecting a long, like the whole day walking from 7 a.m. until sometimes 5 p.m. Sometimes the trekking was until 6 p.m., some days until 7 p.m. And it was all in all to get used to the altitude, to get your body to acclimatize. They suggested for like people like me, completely beginner at altitudes, to do it in 7 days, all in days.
So 7 days it took you to the top and
That it is
bottom.
10 days. Yes,
No, that's fantastic.
because professional trek up. But it's mountain, walkabout mountain. I think if you go at your pace, follow your breathing, gut instinct, do much. If your body is not feeling well enough, stop and break.
Was it as
You
hard?
get amazing
Was it as hard as you thought when you initially set out to
your
climb the
health every
mountain?
day. Sorry?
Was it as hard as you thought initially when you
Say
set
it
out to
again?
do it? Was it quite hard for you to climb the mountain, or was it an easy, manageable climb?
You need to be resilient and to think, every day is a date target.
Yep.
Don't look at the mountain, because if you start looking at the mountain, you get put off, you get some fears, thinking, oh, it's still too far away from where I am. So basically, the next base camp is your target per day. And once you've reached there, you feel so good about it. And then it's one day, then it's another day.
Fantastic.
You get your health checked 3 times a day. So if there is anything wrong, they will let you know. And they will either suggest for you to continue or to... But you have to listen to yourself and believe in yourself.
Fantastic. I have
A
some
lot.
young co-hosts in the studio. We have a Sumaya,
Yes.
and we have Alia, and we have Shiza. What would you like to tell them?
Yes.
What last words would you like to give them, or a sort of motivation? They've all climbed small hills around Wolverhampton
Yes.
and UK. And what would you like to?
Yes.
What advice would you like to give them?
You experience nature at its purest. For me, it was you disconnect completely from the rest of the world, the devices. At the moment, we are all wrapped up with the devices and technology. There you just connect with nature, and there are some stages where you feel you are just next to Allah. I'm telling you, the oxygen is so pure, and you become so thankful. And Kilimanjaro is actually the grateful mountain. So I think it's life changing. The way you see life, the way you appreciate, is a good thing to do. And you
Fantastic.
meet people from all over the world.
It's a multicultural
And
place, isn't it?
Tanzanians.
Sister, before...
And Tanzania is welcoming everybody from all nationalities, all the beliefs, all the languages, and you get friends there. And also Tanzanians are ever so welcoming. I've never seen people as best hosts as they are,
Thank you.
and they are so thankful for having you there.
Thank you very much for sharing your experiences. We're going to carry on with our show, but inshallah, keep tuned. And if you would like to say any
Yes, thank
final,
you for having me.
It's a pleasure hearing your story, and the kids were really enjoying that. For Asmaya, what did you make of the inspirational call here?
It was really good.
You-
I really, I like, how did you survive the 7 days?
How did you survive? Smaya's asking, how did you survive the 7 days?
I survived because I believed in myself, the being able to do it, and I believed that the Almighty Allah was next to me, helping me in pursuing that dream and making it true,
I have a question from Ali as
know?
well.
become true.
How many
Tell me.
mountains have you climbed?
Say that.
How many mountains have you climbed?
That was my first mountain, to be honest with you. I've done in Lancashire, what's it called? I can't remember
Okay.
my age. Those ones.
Okay, no
in,
problem.
not
District.
Peak District. I come
Lake,
from
Lake District.
Lake District. Yes, I went to the Lake District. That was my highest trekking.
Fantastic,
So,
sister. Thank you for your call. We're gonna
Okay.
we're gonna carry on with our show now, but inshallah we will speak to you again. Keep in tune. Let people know that we are live running throughout the year now. Or every Sundays we're having a show, and then we have multiple different shows. But take care. Assalamu alaikum from all the girls.
Thank you very much.
Say assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Masalam. Karibu Tanzania.
Thank you. Okay,
Bye.
bye. So, Sumaya, over to yourself now. I know you had prepared a few interesting information and stories. Can we get you over on the mic now?
So to start off this week's show, I'm going to read about the first prophet, the first man. It happened one day, a long time ago. On that day, Allah made up his mind to make the world. He made the land, the sky, the sea. There were trees and flowers growing everywhere. There were beautiful rivers. There were blue sky above, but there were no people. Allah looked at the land. He looked at the seas. He looked at the sky. The beautiful land looked empty. Allah took some clay and made a man. He called him Adam alayhi salam. Allah also made a woman. He called her Hawa. Adam alayhi salam and Hawa lived in a beautiful garden. There were many beautiful trees in the garden. When Adam and Hawa were hungry, they would eat from the tasty fruit. In the middle of the garden, there was a huge tree. It was different from the other trees. Its fruits were bigger and more beautiful than fruit on the other trees. Allah told Adam and Hawa not to go near that tree. Adam and Hawa were very happy in the garden. They would pluck the fruit from the tree and eat when hungry, but they never touched the particular tree in the garden. In the same garden there lived a shaitan. The shaitan was very jealous of Adam and Hawa. He wanted Allah to be angry with Adam and Hawa. He didn't want them to live in a happy in the beautiful garden. But shaitan decided to do against Allah's order by eating from the forbidden tree. After eating the fruit, Adam and Hawa became afraid. They did not listen to Allah and they ate the fruit from the tree. They would be punished. Allah was very angry, but he did not He loved Adam alayhi salam and Hawa. He did not want to punish them too much. He ordered them to leave the garden and go down and stay on earth. The story of the Prophet Adam alayhi salam teach us that we have been created by Allah and that therefore we are all equal. We should then respect each other and every human being and never look down on each other or insulting people. After all, we are all the children of forefather, the Prophet Adam alayhi salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
So we got another co-host. Who's on there? Come closer to the mic so we can all hear you nice and clearly. Who we got here today?
I'm Alia Sheikh. I'm going to be telling you facts about the Kaaba.
Fantastic.
First, I'm going to tell you the meaning of the Kaaba. The meaning of the Kaaba in Arabic means cuboid, and it's also called the house or sacred house. It's located in the center of Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, which is the holiest masjid and is considered the house of Allah.
Alia, can you tell me a bit about the history of the Kaaba?
Well, it's believed that this place was the place of worship for angels before Adam alayhi salam was created. Later, during Prophet Noah's time, due to the flood, it got lost and was built by Prophet Ibrahim and his son Prophet Ismail alayhi salam. The Quraysh rebuilt the Kaaba in approximately 608 AD with just bricks and some wood. The Kaaba has been damaged by floods and fire and has been rebuilt a few times.
How tall is the Kaaba?
The Kaaba is approximately 13 meter high and 11 meter wide, which is almost a 4-story building. There were lots of idols inside the Kaaba and people used to worship those.
Wow, Alia, what happened to those idols?
Well, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam conquered Mecca, he got rid of all the idols.
Can you tell me a few more important things about the Kaaba?
Yeah. The door of the Kaaba is made of gold. The importance of the door is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make tawbah by the door.
What did Tawbah mean?
It means ask Allah for forgiveness, and this is practiced even now when people visit the Kaaba. The second thing is the black stone. It's believed to be a meteorite that was placed by Prophet Ibrahim and Prophet Ismail alayhi salam in the eastern corner of the Kaaba. While going round the Kaaba, people try to kiss it, but it's very busy.
When I went last year, it was very busy, and we also avoided going close to it.
Oh, I also went that last year with my cousins. What a coincidence. The third thing...
Did you guys meet up?
No, we went at different times.
Different times of the year?
Yeah, I went first to my cousin's house and then while she did Umrah.
Yeah.
Ah, it would have been nice, wouldn't it, if you had a chance to meet up?
Yeah.
We could have tried, but we probably wouldn't be able to find each other anyway.
Yeah, it was
Well,
so busy.
do you know something? I'll tell you something really strange. Once I was doing tawaf, and I was as you were circling the Kaaba, I looked at a person, he looked at me, and do you know when you recognize somebody and you think, well, where do I know this face from? It was an uncle from the local mosque. He looked at me, we looked at each other, and I thought, maybe he's a lookalike. He smiled, and he goes, Yusuf. I said, yes, uncle. So in the middle of tawaf, I seen somebody from Wolverhampton, from the local mosque. Yes. So...
The third thing is Kiswa. It's the cloth that covers the Kaaba. It has ayahs of the Quran written in gold and is changed every year on the 9th day of the month of Hijjah. The Kaaba is cleaned twice a year, once before Ramadan and once before Hajj.
Just before the ad break, I'm going to say the competition once more. So it's a who am I describing question, and if you know the answer, message us your name, your answer and your location on our WhatsApp number 07 440 420 432. So here are one extra clue. He was a black Ethiopian slave. He was born in Mecca. He served as a slave to a lady who was close to Umayyah ibn Khalaf, an arch enemy of Islam. He served the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 25 years. So just remember, if you know the answer, WhatsApp us on 07 440 420 432 with your name, your answer and your location, and all the right answers will go into a hat, and we will pick the prizes at the end of the show.
So, in essence, as you know, the format of the show, we will always have some sort of a competition or riddles. Last week we had riddles from Abdullah. We've got some of our listeners listening already and sending in messages. So, a big assalamu alaikum to Dion and Serena, who have been regular listeners. You want to say salam to them, guys?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, if you're on a Facebook Live, you can see there the girls are. They're giving you a little wave on the cameras there. Keep in tune. We've got a simultaneous running competition. Fatima has already mentioned about the COVID essay that we were doing. Now, if you want to enter that competition, we'll be sending information out on the airwaves. If you would like, submit your entries about your COVID and send us a email. I'll get the email. Fatima, do you have the email details?
It's info@giveformuslims.com if you want to, but just remember the deadline is at midnight tonight. So just you should have done it earlier if you guys heard our show from before.
So basically, what we're doing is one of our teachers from Sunday school he's the author of Islamic Gift for Muslims, and he's opened up the competition for all the listeners in UK and worldwide to participate in the competition. So if you are interested in hearing, getting involved, do drop a essay up to 2 pages long at the email address. That's
giveformuslims.com.
Fantastic. That's Fatima here. Right. Now, remember the other competition about the free MOT. If you want to find the 4 posters through Wolverhampton, the ones behind Alia, give us a little bit of a shake hand there. There you go. Behind Alia, we'll get the cameras up there. You can send us a message, and whoever gets that sent to us first, we will obviously give them the free MOT. Now, after the break, we will speak to our lovely guest, Shiza Kashif. She's been anxiously waiting. We've heard from our other 2 hosts, so we will see you on the other side of the break. So just bear with me. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll see you on the other side.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. I'm Shiza Kashif. Today I would like to share some very important and beautiful facts about peace and kindness in Islam. There is no doubt that Allah has sent thousands of Quran verses and thousands of hadith, sayings and teachings on Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for mankind. Islam is a religion of peace. The spirit of Islam is a spirit of peace. The first verse of the Quran says, "In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate." This verse is repeated in the Quran no less than 113 times. It shows the great importance Islam attaches such values as mercy and compassion. One of God's names, according to the Quran, is As-Salam, which means peace. We learn that the Holy Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, is a continuous source of inspiration. There is not a single flaw in his character. Even the non-Muslims of Mecca knew him as the truthful Al-Sadiq and the faithful Al-Amin. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, was extremely generous and sociable himself. He encouraged others to be likewise. A man asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, which act in Islam is the best? He replied, to feed the poor and needy, and greet those who you know and those who you do not. Now let's talk about the importance of helping others in Islam. We all know that every one of us will at some point in our lives experience some type of problems and pain. It is therefore important to explore the importance of helping others. So, how can we help others? I would say we need to be kind to others. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Allah is gentle and he loves gentleness. He rewards for gentleness. It is important to remember that in our daily lives we will see many people and we don't know about their problems. The simple act of being kind can sometimes be very helpful to someone. One of the ways this can be done is through talking positive conversation or even simply smiling at someone. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said all Muslims are as one person. If one complains of pain in the head, the whole body complains, and if the eye complains, the whole body complains. He also said all Muslims are like one foundation, some parts strengthening and others in such a way they must support each other. When we say we have to be kind to all human beings, it means with everybody, regardless of any differences. Quran says, respect and honor all human beings irrespective of their religion, color, language, status, property, birth, profession, job, and so on. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, a perfect Muslim is one for whose tongue and hands mankind is safe. Prophet, peace be upon him, said, God is not merciful, to him is not so kind. We all should have complete faith on Prophet's teachings. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, you will not enter paradise until you have faith, and you will not complete your faith till you love one another. An important act of kindness is to initiate the salam. Spread the salam, it increases love between people and reminds us that we all need Allah's peace and blessings. Do this with people whom you know and whom you do not. Another way you can show kindness is to help others. Sometimes we have problems and we are unaware of their problems. If we just ask, it will help them sooner. There's a wonderful story from the life of Abu Bakr, Radiallahu anhu, who would visit a blind elderly woman and take care of her daily housework. She was unaware of who he was and he kept his deeds private. We can help others by paying someone's groceries, school fees, buy clothes for them, etc. A random act of kindness that can make a huge difference to someone's life.
So now I'm going to read another story called The Prophet Adam alayhi salam and his wife Hawa had two sons. The elder son was called Habil. The younger son's name was called Qabil. Habil was a shepherd, Qabil was a farmer. In the olden time, people used to offer sacrifice to Allah. Then would put the best thing they had in a special place. If Allah were happy with them, He would send fire from the sky. The fire would burn its offering. Habil and Qabil wanted to offer a sacrifice to Allah. Habil chose a sheep for Allah. Qabil bought his best crop, the sheep and the crop. They put it on the mountains. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed. It burnt the sheep offered by Habil, but it did not touch the crops offered by Qabil. Allah had accepted the sheep offered by Habil. He was happy for Habil, but Allah did not accept the crop from Qabil. He was not happy with Qabil. Qabil was very angry. He began to fight with Habil. He shouted, "This is your fault. I will kill you." Habil loved Allah very much. He always had fear for Allah. Habil said to Qabil, "You are not afraid of Allah. How can Allah accept your sacrifice? Fear Allah and Allah will be happy with you." Qabil faced darkness with anger, and his heart became hard. "No," he cried, "I will kill you." At that threat from the elder brother, Habil did not shout back. He just said calmly, "Even if you raise your hand to kill me, I will not fight back, and I fear Allah, the Lord of the world." Qabil was jealous of his brother. He did not listen to him. He began fight with him and killed him. Then Qabil became ashamed. He started to cry. He called out to Allah for help, and Allah sent a black raven. The raven stretched the ground and showed Qabil how to bury his brother. Allah is happy with people who fear Him. Allah does not like it when we fight the harm people. The moral of this story is that two believers should never fight with each other, even if one of them is a bet on fighting. The other one liked gentle and obeyed. Habil should never fight back.
Thank you, Sumaya. Yeah, that's beautifully read. Thank you, Shiz, as well. I know we have some more questions lined up from Alia. Alia had your Kaaba. Have you kind of finished with your Kaaba information? Or are you going to share a few more with our listeners?
Yes.
Okay, over to you. If you come to the mic for me, please. Thank you. So, right. So, for me, please. Thank you. So, right. So earlier, Shiza, Alia was talking about the Kaaba, and
I had a question.
you have a question to ask away.
When I went there with my dad, I saw a small rectangular thing just by the Kaaba, a golden color. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's the station of Ibrahim. It's slightly away from the Kaaba. It's believed to be Prophet Ibrahim's footprint. Prophet Ibrahim stood on the stone while building the Kaaba. Finally, Zamzam water is a few meters away from the Kaaba. Whoever goes to the Kaaba drinks and brings home. There's lots of swab to drink Zamzam water.
Can you tell us what's the importance of the Kaaba?
Yep. Islam has 5 pillars, and one of the pillars is to visit the Kaaba once in a lifetime, which is called Hajj. During Hajj, people go around the Kaaba every year. Around 3 million people go around the Kaaba during Hajj. More and more people travel to visit the Kaaba each year, and the place around the Kaaba has been extended a lot with very tall buildings. People also perform Umrah, which is a shorter version of Hajj and can be performed any time during the year other than Hajj times.
Even now?
Yeah.
Well, under the COVID, they've obviously got limitations, haven't they? But generally, if the lockdown wasn't happening, we could go. At the moment, they've put limitations. So, but yes, sorry, we could go any time of the year. That's what you were saying, weren't you, Alia?
Yeah. During the COVID-19, the Kaaba has been closed for worship, and it may be closed this year's Hajj, and it will be the first time in modern history when there will be no Hajj, sadly.
Right, Sumaya, you have another question for Alia?
Alia, do you know what is inside the Kaaba?
Everyone wants to know what's inside. Apparently, the walls are white marble on the lower half and green cloth on the upper half. It's quite beautiful. Finally, I will encourage everyone to visit the Kaaba if they can if they can afford it. We went last year and loved it.
Can I give you a little story? Sumaya wasn't with me, but me and your mom, we were walking around Dwarf, doing the Dwarf, and all of a sudden, a whole lot of army people came and circled the Kaaba, and they told us to stop because they had some VIP or something was going on, and then quickly they ushered in the stairs on wheels, and before we knew it, as we were making our circles, every time we get into the circles, it's getting more and more interesting. They put the stairs, and then the door opened, and then inside people used torches to turn the light on.
Did you see what's inside the
Yeah,
Kaaba?
yeah. So all of a sudden, by the door, a whole lot of people started stopping, and the dwarf came to a halt, and we were looking directly inside, and basically we could see the white marble or whatever inside. It was just clear, and then some VIP person, whoever that was, came in, and they went inside, had a look, and then we had to carry on. The security wouldn't let us stay there too. A real nice, interesting time that we had. Shiza,
I
yes,
want to say something.
yes.
When we were doing Safa and Marwa, I got lost after we did all our Safa and Marwa. My dad said, "Go get your cousin and sisters who went on their own way after Safa and Marwa." So I went to find them. I couldn't find them, so I went back to the place where my dad was. He wasn't there. Yeah. I always had my name tag,
Yeah,
and with
that's
the
what I
numbers.
had.
Yeah, but that time I didn't have it, so I couldn't tell the people who the people who were there to call my dad or my uncle. And so I recommend always wear your name tag. Never forget it, because you never know when you can.
Fair enough. And then what happened? How were you found?
So my mom, she wasn't there because she wasn't feeling well, so she stayed outside the Kaaba. My mom wasn't there. She would have kept an eye on me. She wouldn't have let me go with my sister. But she bought us bright blue, royal blue scarves. And I saw my cousins. She wears glasses. I saw her cousin. I saw her scarf and I saw her glasses. I ran up to her and
Give her a
yeah,
big hug.
Yeah,
And were you crying?
kind of.
It's a very difficult place to find people. But look, you know what? Allah miraculously helps you, and alhamdulillah, you're here, you're safe. That's fantastic. Shiza, can I just now go back to yourself? And I believe you were going to give us some more information about good Islamic manners and how. Over to you.
One of the main things you can do, you can do charity. It others with money and good acts. Don't feel ashamed when giving little for charity. That is because there's always goodness in giving, no matter how little. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says charity does not decrease wealth. He also said a man's true wealth is the good he does in this world. A man is not a believer who fills his stomach while his neighbor is hungry. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said sadaqah, charity, wipes out the sins like water extinguishes fire. Charity not only can be done with money or help, it can be done by different good acts. Smiling in your brother's face is an act of charity. Forgiveness is the greatest gift of charity in Islam. When one of you plants a tree, builds water pumps for clean water, makes a guest house for travelers and people who take the benefits from these, all comes in charity. Another thing you can do is to visit the sick. Visit the sick people for the sake of Allah is a beloved act of worship. We often forget the vulnerable and ill people who are busy in our daily life. We should take some time out and visit an unwell family member or a neighbor or someone whom we know may be sick and need help. Forgive others. It is one of the kindest acts that God loves. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says, "You do not do evil to those who do evil to you. Deal with them with forgiveness and kindness." Another important act of kindness is to make dua for others in private. When you make a dua for someone in private, Allah sends an angel to you whom replies, Ameen, and same to you. If you help someone, Allah helps you. Once Prophet Moses asked Allah, who are the most honored of your servants? Allah said, those who forgive when they have power over others. We all should pray that Allah, if I hurt others, give me strength to apologize, and if people hurt me, give me the strength to forgive. Another thing you can do is if you see litter, pick it up. It is important to take care of our environment, and one of the ways to show our gratitude to Allah is to participate in keeping clean the world we live. By picking up a can or piece of plastic from the ground, we could protect someone from causing accident and injury to themselves.
Fantastic, Shiza, for sharing that information. It's been very useful. I know our audience will be listening in and really appreciative. We've had a number of messages come in, so we've had some confidence boosting messages as well. We've had a message on our website that is great effort, mashallah, well done. Keep building up and improving your confidence. We're having some people responding to the questions, and we have, I believe, the first winner for the MOT. Now, we spoke about the MOT and how to win that, and I'll come to that in a minute. What I'd like to do is go to a nasheed, if we can just bear with us, and we'll go to a nasheed, first nasheed, and inshallah we will speak to you guys after the nasheed.
Hey, little fish in the bottom of the ocean, moving along in a really cool motion. Did you ever wonder where you came from? Who is the Lord of all creation? The little fish said, that's my Lord. The little fish said, that's my Lord. The little fish said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Hey, little bird, so way up high, color design. Tell me who made you and I, me to walk and you to fly. The little bird said, that's my Lord. The little bird said, that's my Lord. The little bird said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Allahu Akbar, our creator. There's no one greater than Allah. So why do we stand tall, too proud to recognize what's right before our eyes? Signs from the Lord. Hey, alligator, laying so still. Who's your maker? By whose will do you crawl and do you swim? Who controls everything? The alligator said, that's my Lord. The alligator said, that's my Lord. The alligator said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Hey, king of the jungle, the mighty lion, top of the food chain, no denying. But who is the one that you rely on, life or death? Who is deciding? The lion said, that's my Lord. The lion said, that's my Lord. The lion said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Allahu Akbar, our creator. There's no one greater than Allah. So why do we stand tall, too proud to recognize what's right before our eyes? Signs from our Lord. Hey, my brother, hey, my sister, see yourself as self-sustaining, but don't you see what will come later? We all return to the Creator. Then we'll say, that's my Lord. Then we'll say, that's my Lord. Then we'll say, that's my Lord. Oh, Allah, forgive us all. I travel the world, north to the south, east to the west, and there ain't no doubt, whoever I see, whatever I found, I can hear them sing out loud. Alhamdulillah, praise my Lord. Alhamdulillah, praise my Lord. Alhamdulillah, praise my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Allahu Akbar, our creator. There's no one greater than Allah. So why do we stand tall, too proud to recognize us. What's right before our eyes, signs from our Lord. 'Cause Allah made everything, Allah made everything, Allah made everything, you and I. Allah made everything, Allah made everything, Allah made everything, the earth and the blue sky. Do we remember Him? Thank Him for everything. Surrender to only Him with all our lives. 'Cause Allah made everything, Allah made everything, Allah made everything, you and I. Allah made everything, Allah made everything, Allah made everything, the earth and the blue sky. But do we remember Him? Thank Him for everything. Surrender to only Him with all our lives. Allah.
Welcome back after our nasheed. If you've been watching us on Facebook and you've seen all these musical chairs going on, what's happening is we have our trio back. Trio, you want to introduce yourselves? Let the audience know you are back again after Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Doha.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Amina.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Laiba.
So we are pleased to see these guys back form ready, now fueled up after Ramadan. They've been on a spiritual high. We've lost some people over the ways because, so much going on. Schools are opening up and all sorts of things are happening. Doha, before I carry on, can you please update us all on the competition? So I got our listeners involved. We've got a few listeners getting the right answers. So let's get them all involved. And then over to you, Doha.
So today is still going to be who am I describing question. I'm going to recap a few clues that Fatima already gave, and then I'll give you one new clue. So he was a black Ethiopian slave. He was born in Mecca. He served as a slave to a lady who was close to Umayyah ibn Khalaf, an arch enemy of Islam. He served the Prophet Muhammad for 25 years, and Umar ibn Khattab addressed him as Sayyidina, our leader.
Fantastic. If you know the answers, what do they need to do? Take the whom and ask Amina or Laiba. Go on, one of you. Tell us what they need to do.
Okay, so basically you type in your answer, send it to our WhatsApp number.
They must type, yes?
Yeah.
With their fingers.
Yeah.
With their
WhatsApp number is 07440420432.
Oh my gosh, Laiba, you did the number wrong. It's okay.
Okay, go on, do you want to do it again?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Do it again.
07440 420 432.
Okay.
She's got a rhythm going on.
I've written it how it's said, like with the dashes.
With the dashes.
440.
So if you got dashes, why don't you put a dash? Say 440 dash, 440, 420 dash. Okay. So Laiba. Anyway, hey, look, we've got Laiba. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we
Ladies
have
and
Laiba here.
Brothers and sisters, we have the famous Laiba. You are Laiba.
I'm not famous.
Laiba, come on.
Come on, guys, we all know she's famous.
Look, guys, first of all, let's give a bit of a wave to our Facebook people and followers. Okay, no wave for the Facebook followers. We'll wave. Laiba is famous. Why is she famous? She is now a host of her own show.
Can I talk about it?
Of course you can. We want you to talk about it. So Laiba is going to give us a few minutes of what her show's about. Before we get started, so Laiba, over to you. Where have you been and what have you been up to?
Okay, so on every Saturday, 3 to 4 p.m., I host with my friend Shireen Galani called Teen Talk Show. And what we talk about is we discuss topics that aren't talked about enough in our community or that aren't spoken about from the old generation. And we feel that this platform can help many understand what goes on in the life of teenagers and their perspective. So right now we're doing a bullying series, and we did episode 2 yesterday, which was do you know how many types of bullying there are?
I thought there was just
One time.
One type?
No. I know there's 2. Cyberbullying, remember?
Yeah.
And normal bullying.
Bullying.
And like
Ooh.
Physical?
bullying, mental bullying.
So there
Psychological.
are 4.
Wow.
4. Go on,
So
tell
the
us.
first one is physical bullying.
Oh, yeah?
Then we have relational bullying. And that's basically like when you have a friend group and then one leaves someone out and it's like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have cyberbullying. And then, so we have that. And then next week, right, we'll have a police officer in. And that will be our guest star. And then we'll talk about how to report bullying when it gets to really to that stage.
Out of control.
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, this sounds interesting. So, guys, Amina, so what day is it, her show?
Saturday.
Doha, what time is her show?
3 to 4 p.m.
Yes.
Fantastic. So those guys who are listening in, please listen to our very, very lovely, smiley Laiba, and do share and let people know. So look, we are going to go to our first little bit of a break. We will come back and we'll join all these lovely youngsters here in the studio, and we will be getting on with our show. If you are wanting to participate, you can call us. If you want to call us, you can call us. If you got the answer for the competition, you can WhatsApp us. And if you would like to follow us on Facebook, we will be streaming live. So leave us some comments and shares and likes. So Laiba, anybody special who you want us to make comment for, from anybody particular, any name? Me and you had
You know.
I know. Okay,
You
well,
know.
audience, we have a particular person we want to give a special shout out, but we'll do that after the ad break. So just stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side.
Assalamu alaikum, you're the Youth on Air show. I am your co-host today, Duha Malik. And we have Laiba and Amina, as we mentioned before. So today we are going to be continue talking about our major topic, racism. So last week we mentioned the death of George Floyd. He was murdered by police brutality, and how there have been a lot of protests for Black Lives Matter. These people were protesting not only for George, but for all of the black people. I'd also like to mention that we all do need to understand that not all lives can matter until Black lives do matter. And yeah, we mentioned that last week about a bit as well. So we also mentioned that Shaitan's hatred with man, and how the first incident of racism was when Shaitan didn't bow down to Adam because he thought he was better than he was. Better because he was made out of fire and Adam was made out of clay. He believed he was more superior than Adam alayhi salam. And Allah has only placed superiority with piety and taqwa, not race or colour. We also learned a really important hadith that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in his last sermon. He said, "There is no superiority for an Arab over a non-Arab, nor for a non-Arab over an Arab. Neither is the white superior over the black, nor is the black superior over the white, except by piety." So today we are going to be creating awareness that not any type of racism is acceptable, not even within our own communities. So we as Muslims experience racism daily. So Amina, have you got any stories you'd like to share about racism, like how people have been racist towards you?
I mean, as such, I haven't actually experienced to my face. I mean, maybe once, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But I haven't. I'm quite lucky not to have experienced racism as brutally as other people obviously have. So this one time, I think it was in school when I was, 11, and this was when ISIS was quite a big thing. And this one girl said, I overheard her. It was a group of girls, and they said there was a plane flying overhead, and they said, "Armin is sending bombs over to us." I mean, I found it funny, to be honest, but obviously it's not acceptable at all to say stuff like that. Yeah, and obviously loads of people who obviously are non-Muslims, Muslims, everyone thought that it wasn't acceptable because saying stuff like that isn't acceptable.
Yeah.
So, Liba, do you have anything?
Well, I have a lot, actually. Like, I've experienced a lot of racism. But I feel like my main one, which really, like, got me, was... So I've had it in primary school, but, like, I thought that as a joke. But suddenly, when I went to secondary, I was like, this isn't a joke. Racism is real. So...
Did you become accustomed to the way people were coming across, and you thought, wow, that's one of the way it is. But coming to secondary school, you felt a little bit more kind of open-minded. So, hold on, this is not acceptable.
Yeah, because I think because I put on the scarf, I was like, everyone knows that I'm Muslim. Like, it's obvious I'm Muslim. And that I need to stand up for what I am. So then in year 7, so we were in history, I remember this. And then basically, this boy said to this other boy, he didn't know this boy was Muslim. And then he goes, "You're Muslim, I can't be friends with you." And I did not like that. And I was like, how dare you say that? And then he says 3 words. He goes, "Shut up, ISIS." And I burst into tears. I just cried and I cried. And then, well, he had to write me an apology letter, but I just scrunched it up and left it on the table. But, like, now we're friends. And I still bring that up. I think everyone in the school knows that now. Like, if you know me, you know that story. And we all just make fun of it now. But as I've been going through secondary school, I've been getting more, like, terrorist is just, like, a normal word now, which is not okay.
Yeah, definitely.
At all.
Guys, can I just stop you there? The listeners are saying it's a lot better with the original crew. Here you got Doha and your crew. So Laiba, Amina, Doha, well done, welcome back. Listeners, there are some regular listeners, who are tuning in regularly and are accustomed to you guys, and give them a wave on the cameras. So look, we are blessed to have these sisters with us again. Due to commitments and school and all sorts of other things going on in their lives, they'll be here now and every other other week, or as and when time permits.
Yeah.
So keep in tune. We want to mix it up. We want to give everyone a opportunity, all the kids around our Wolverhampton, to get involved. And if you're a parent and you want your child to be on the airwaves, yes, as the COVID is getting a bit more relaxed, we can arrange for one of you guys to come on air if you want to. So back to the show. Who we got on? Who's kicking off?
So, Doha, have you experienced any kind of racism?
Well, actually, I have. I think I mentioned it a bit last week, but there was this girl who used to I heard her saying to someone that she was really tall, and everyone's really tall to me. So got really scared when she said this. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take your scarf off," and me being I think I was in year 7 or year 8. I was scared and I didn't know what to do. I used to cry. I went home and I was crying, and it was Ramadan, and I think I remember we were going to Ravian Mosque, and my friend called me and she was like, "What happened?" And then I was just there at my auntie's house crying, and I called my mom. She didn't even know. I called my mom and I was telling everybody, and I didn't know what to do and everything. But then after we got to resolve the situation, and then we became friends, which is And also I think a lot of racism when you're going outside, when you are going out, and people just stare at you and look at you, and basically that's it. So Amina.
I think, like you said, Liba, before, that the word terrorist is being thrown around really easily,
Yeah.
and
as a joke.
as
as
a
well.
joke, and I don't think it should be used like that because it's obviously very serious. I think once, do you remember, Doha? Me and Doha went to play tennis we were at the tennis court, and there were some people above.
They were walking.
It's like a hill
tennis,
kind of place, so they were on the hill, and we were in the tennis court, and then because me and Doha were obviously wearing hijabs, and then they started screaming terrorist at us, and I think we were quite young.
It was that in Ordersley by chance?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me? Because I dropped. Didn't I drop you off?
Do you know the thing was, I didn't know who it was, and he said my name, and then I went and I realized it was a kid from my school, and then I realized and that he actually says racist stuff to everyone in school, and I was just
not okay.
And I think I did mention something to him, was that you said something to me, and I don't remember what he said, but yeah.
Fantastic. Well, can I just interrupt you girls again? We've got great little listeners. We've got a brother Baba who's listening in, brother Fawaz, Aziz, and Ismail, and Usman Ahmed. He is listening as well. So just assalamu alaikum and jazakallah for the support. For listening in. If you want to enter the competition, Doha, very quickly, can you run through all of the clues, and let's get this concluded, and then we can announce the winner.
So I'll recap the ones we said before, and I'll give you some new clues. So he was a black Ethiopian slave. He was born in Mecca. He served as a slave to a lady who was close to Umayyah ibn Khalaf, an arch enemy of Islam. He served the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ for 25 years. Umar ibn Khattab addressed him as Sayyidina, our leader. He was one of the most trusted and loyal Sahabas of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He was the caller of the daily prayer, so he did the Adhan. He was considered to be the first muadhin chosen by Muhammad ﷺ himself. And also, if you guys were listening to the show last week, that's a bit of a clue for that. So if you were listening last week, you might know the answer.
And for last week's winners, we have 2 winners. A winner was thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very much. I totally forgot about the drum rolls. So thank you very much. Look, we got to keep doing this. You can't just kind of you've set a precedence, right?
I know. I think the listeners don't like something new. I think they just like us because we're just.
So listeners, talk to us. Listeners, tell us.
Let us know who you like better.
No, not who. You three. We're talking about you three. Your show.
As in, do they like our show better? And
So listeners, talk to us. Let us know. Do you want Liba back?
Oh, wait, why does
we want Liba back?
Me and Amina could come anytime, mate.
So
You're the what's the word?
The part of the trio.
I know.
So basically, look how humble she is. Wow.
Wow.
Superstar.
Liba's famous.
Liba's
and
famous.
she's just got no time for us.
She's got no time for us. You know what? I'll tell you behind the scenes, right? I'll tell you now on the air. I had to do so much stuff, right? I had to make calls to family members, persuading brothers, sisters, dads. I had to go to different levels to get her on there on a phone call, an appointment.
Yeah, you had to make an appointment.
I had to make an appointment to speak to the great Liba Zainab Farouk, right? And then
We've got the middle name in there.
so basically, once I called her and I had to plea, I was on my knees, right, on the phone, and she goes, "All right then, just once."
I just felt so bad for you.
She felt sorry for me, And so she's here today, and we are enjoying the company. But listen, if you missed it, Alaiba does have her own show every Saturdays. 3 o'clock?
Yeah, 3
3
to 4
o'clock, 3
p.m.
to 4. And they've got they're talking about bullying, and they've got a special guest, one of the police officers, all right? So anyway, going back to the competition we witnessed from last week, Mustafa Abu Bakr, you won a goodie bag. You need to give us give me a call, and we can arrange for you to come and collect that. And Mariam has won a gift as well. So thank you very much for your participation. Listeners, we do need a bit of Facebook love.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And if you are listening, do drop us a message on there, and we'll give you a couple of shout outs. Share, like, and comment. And Liba, didn't we come across?
I know you forgot about this.
Didn't we come across something? Liba? Me and Liba were talking. Right? We have a discussion, and we noticed that one of our shall we name her?
Yes.
Okay, so somebody we know, me and Liba know, and you three know as well. It's her sister. She's what's her name? Isha. What's her full name?
Isha Mariam Farouk.
Isha Mariam Farouk. Let's say that together.
Isha Mariam Farouk.
Was her Facebook comments were really excited on Liba's show, and what we realized, Liba, what we
didn't know about this.
what we didn't realize that she hadn't or hasn't been commenting or liking to any of our previous shows in Ramadan.
Even with Liba in there.
So anyway, we're calling her out. Say, look, share the love.
We love the love.
Yeah, I was remembering what Amina said last time.
So Amina loves the love. Ask Amina, what would you like to say to this Isha? I'm going to put you on the camera. You tell us, what would you like to say to this
Right,
Isha
Isha.
girl?
I think it's very unfair that you're showing this partiality here. I think you should watch all of Liba's show because she's amazing in all of them.
And
And not
are
just
we.
one of them. And so are we, obviously. So, share, like, comment on Facebook. We love the love.
Thank
That's
you very
it.
much. So, guys, sorry for interrupting your flow there. Back to what your main course of your topic.
We're actually going back to you. So have you experienced any kind of racism?
I don't think I've actually heard this. So
I don't know. I've experienced many forms.
have you got any interesting stories?
Not about racism, no. Do you know what? Like Liba was saying earlier, I've kind of just said, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
How many battles can you fight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every day you're on the road, somebody looks at you. I've got. If I put myself on the camera, you'll see I've got a huge, humongous beard because I haven't been to the camera. I haven't been to the barbers. So if you can see a huge, humongous beard, and ultimately somebody sees that, they have a perception of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And assuming maybe I can't speak English, or they talk down to me.
Yeah.
And then with my heavy black country accent or whatever you want to say, I start speaking to them. And what I find is, without me kind of going to any particular issues, is as soon as I open my mouth and I talk and we have a discussion,
Changes there.
it changes
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah.
But the thing is, how many people are? It's a long journey I'm on. I'm on a journey throughout my working life.
Yeah.
Only after uni, maybe I got a lot more confident. But I'm happy to see you guys are fantastically confident in who you are, and this is what I've noticed from you, all three of you. Yes.
I think that of what we've noticed is that kids now, because they're starting to like embrace Islam more, like mostly girls, because you know how like we wear scarf, we're like my dad was saying before, what's it called? Before uni, he wasn't that he didn't really stand up for himself. But what people
Yeah.
were saying, maybe because now we are more educated and we are more,
Yeah.
we're like facing the reality a bit earlier than
Yeah.
they were facing in uni, and now we're facing it now, so we know what to do about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amina?
Brother Yusuf, do you think there's been a change, like since maybe when you were small to now, about how people were treated
it's
in
gotten
this kind of way?
Better or
yeah.
worse. Yeah.
I think in my lifetime, I think it's, there's more tolerance, there's more understanding. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just in my head. I don't know.
Maybe.
But there's more. When our grandfathers first came in here, there were very few in number. People didn't know who we were. We looked different. We smelled different. We had curry smells, so to speak. And now, if you look at look at UK, one of the favorite or top dishes is curries, baltis,
Yeah,
Indian
yeah.
food.
Yeah,
So
like I know a lot of my friends,
English,
non-Muslim friends.
Yeah.
They all just love curry, and I was like, wow. I realized my friend, she like writes curry more than me and stuff, and I was just like,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
like,
we take it for
like-
granted.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, going to back to your question, there's been a lot of appreciation, tolerance, and understanding between the cultures. And we've got a lot of friends who we meet up who from a different culture, and from the food we eat, the way where we go. Look at the masjids. The masjids are doing open days. When did we ever know that to happen? And you've seen, you've got girls have participated in the open days. Thank you very much, by the way. At the masjid, and you've seen the different people. How receptive are they? Right?
They're like people who are more educated, and they don't have this one set mind, like they don't have the same view, and they don't listen to what the news say. They go out their way to educate themselves. And believe. They like, they don't just like, let's say, oh, all Muslims are like, let's example, all Muslims are terrorists. We're not, even we know that's not true, but they like in the news they'll just believe it. But then there's certain people who will say like, well, that's not true. I have a Muslim friend, I have a Muslim neighbor, they're not like this or like that. Basically.
So there you go. I mean, I hope I've answered your question. But what I've realized is there's a lot more tolerance, and if we can go out there and change people's minds and perspectives, challenge where we can, stand up where we can, but not going out for looking at problems or causing problems. So, Amina.
So I think many people's views are like influenced by the media, and so if they see, for example, someone with a beard or someone with a hijab on, they immediately think maybe this person is different, this person is possibly dangerous, and that can obviously influence their views, their how they see Muslims, and which is obviously very wrong, and that's how you can say that they are uneducated in that sense. So I think what the main thing is here is to educate the people about different races, different religions. And Doha, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm just saying we're going to mention this a bit later as I go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So don't jump the gun. She
Yeah,
said.
basically. So
In the flow.
So we are going to actually share some stories about some Muslims who have faced death because other people are being racist and showing their uneducatedness towards like children and stuff, and they have died during this. So, Laiba?
Okay, so one example is about a Somalian Muslim girl called Shukri Abdi, who was just 12 years old, and she was bullied because of her skin color and was drowned in a river by her 4 bullies. Shukri and her family came to the UK at the start of 2017 via a refugee camp in Kenya. They settled in Bury, a small town in Greater Manchester. Whether she was at a mosque or in school, her teachers and peers described Shukri as a joy to be around. 2.5 years later, Shukri's body was found in a river Irwell. Because the police prematurely shut down the case, the school refused to investigate the allegations of bullying towards Shukri. What happened in the hours leading up to her death was shrouded in mysteries for months, with Zamzam, Shukri's mother, unable to find justice that she could desperately need it. This particularly devastating nature of this case, that Shukri was an only child, and almost a year on, justice is yet to be served, and this has led many people back to this case, viewing it as another example of police and this country more generally failing a black child's life and in death.
Another example is about an 18-year-old Muslim girl, Maryam Mustafa, who was punched several times. She suffered a stroke 10 hours after. The charges that the murderers faced were unfair and unjust, even with all the evidence that was given. Obviously, she was punched and bruises, and then she suffered a stroke 10 hours after. And the murderers didn't face fair charges. They weren't so it wasn't really fair to those to her family and to her that she didn't get justice, even though because the people who attacked her were maybe white, and the court showed no remorse as she was Muslim. And this is obviously a very clear case of racism, and how due to this, due to just maybe her being Muslim or due to the color of her skin, she can face such injustice.
So most of these attacks happened because people were uneducated and they think that they are more superior than us. And as we mentioned before, Allah has only placed superiority with piety and taqwa, not race or color. And as we mentioned before, these people, due to them being like uneducated, they don't take the time out to educate themselves that we are not all the same. Because of that little incident, like with the Shukri Abdi, they were just little kids that made her like caused her to die. If they were just like educated, like from little children, as Libel mentioned in a minute, if they were just educated, they will know that we're not all the same. Like I saw this post ages ago. It was like a little black girl and a little white girl. They were both playing perfectly fine because they didn't think that we're any different to anyone.
Because you're not born racist.
Exactly.
You can't be born
You're
made racist.
Exactly. That's it. Because maybe you have like some parents or some family or other people around you who think that it's not true. Like I have some friends. My friend, she's Indian, and her family actually don't like Muslims.
Yeah.
But she's like really close to me, and she was like, I don't know what to tell my family because like I was like, she was talking to me. She was like, oh, I really wanted to invite you to my birthday and stuff, but like my family are like her grandparents are like they decided not to educate themselves and say that we're not all the same. So
yeah.
So Liba, what were we gonna mention?
I also think that you can't expect a child just to know what's right and what's wrong. They need to be taught what's right and what's wrong. So I feel like schools should have some education in place to teach children not to be ignorant and to be open-minded, because as a child, the place where you're brought up, that has an impact on how you grow up to be. So you should be more open-minded, and I feel like schools can help that.
Yeah, schools can.
And wait one second.
You
And not only just like not being racist to Muslims, the thing is they couldn't be educated not to be racist at all. Like I understand like maybe kids might not want to listen and stuff, but the thing is the more you try and help them to like listen, if you can get your kid to be racist to other people, I'm sure you can change their mind and tell them that this is wrong. We are all the same. So just because we have a different race, we have different color, doesn't mean that we're any different.
It doesn't mean that we should be treated any differently by anyone. And I think you're right in the saying that schools can definitely help, because I know from maybe in secondary school in year 7 we do get taught, but by then you've already been influenced, because you're influenced when you're small, when you're maybe 7 or 8. You get, I mean, this is put into your mind that maybe because he's a different color to me, I'm different, and that's why I think it should be taught from maybe when they're in primary school that everyone is the same.
And also in primary school, the thing is, maybe not everyone, like towards maybe a year 1, 2, and 3, we don't face that much racism because the kids don't really know anything, as was mentioned before.
Exactly.
And like when we go in secondary, it's like that's like your fixed mindset. That's you're not gonna change. Like I know if someone told me something about some other people in year 7, year 8, I'm not gonna change my mind. I think I know
exactly.
Right? So I'm not gonna change it. And if you were taught from before, then you know that you can listen to other people and not everyone's like the same and stuff.
And I think, like Liba, you were saying before, where you grow up, I think that does have an impact, because if you grow up in, for example, a predominantly like, for example, if we grew up in a predominantly Muslim community, like where we weren't exposed to any other kind of race, then obviously we would think that, that we aren't, we are like better, we're better, which is obviously not true. But I think if even then, people should be educated, even if you grow up in somewhere where there isn't exposure to other races, people should still know that there are other races out there, and there are other races that you should respect, and it's not just your own.
So now we're going to talk about a very famous boxer called Muhammad Ali, who was faced with a lot of racism. Muhammad Ali was born as Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. in Louisville, Kentucky on January the 17th, 1942.
Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest boxers in history. In addition, he was known for his social message of black pride and black resistance to white domination, and for refusing induction into the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War.
Raised in a middle-class African-American family, then 12-year-old Cassius's life changed when his bike was stolen at the age of 12. At the police station, he told the officers he wanted to whoop the thief. One of them, also a boxing trainer, encouraged Ali to go into this sport. Ali was trained by coach Chuck Bodak for the next 4 years, winning Golden Gloves amateur awards in multiple regional tournaments, triumphing in 95 out of 100 fights. Considered one of the greatest boxers who ever lived. He bagged the gold medal in the light heavyweight competition at the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome.
Upon his return from Rome, Ali threw his gold medal into the Ohio River after he was allegedly rejected service at a restaurant due to his skin color, according to his autobiography, in a powerful statement against institutionalized racial discrimination in the midst of the civil rights movement.
For 3 years, when he was in his sporting prime, Ali was banned from boxing by the US authorities after he refused to be inducted into the US Army because of his opposition to the Vietnam War.
It was a punishment Ali was willing to take, saying in response to a 5-year prison sentence, which he successfully appealed for refusing to fight. So what? We black people have been in jail for 400 years.
Ali's impact upon American society was growing, and he became a lightning rod for dissent. Ali's message of black pride and black resistance to white domination was on the cutting edge of the civil rights movement. Having refused induction into the US Army, he also stood for the proposition that unless you have a very good reason to kill, war is wrong.
And I think that's like what most of the Muslims' mindsets usually are, and that's basically what his mindset was. And yeah.
Except like the media makes it seem like because a small minority of Muslims maybe are causing such havoc, and they all think that we're the same.
Yeah, but we're not.
We're obviously not.
Like
it's
I
a very, very small
I also need
minority
to
as
add
well.
something. I just remembered. What's it called? Like some kid started saying to me, how he started calling me like a terrorist and stuff, and I think it was some incident happened in I don't remember where, but some bombing had taken place somewhere, and he was like to me, "Oh, I can't believe you did that" and stuff, and I was just thinking,
I did that, did I?
I was thinking in my head, I was here with you,
Yeah.
and it just happened now, and also I'm dumb, so like how do you expect me? I'm like a child, you're same age, I'm literally the same as you. How do you expect me to go bomb this place and stuff?
Can I just hold you girls? Look, it's a fantastic little conversation we're having. We're going to go to our breaks, and then after the break, we will on live. So if you are listening, thank you very much. Keep in tune. We are going to be back here for a short break. So stay tuned, and we see you on the other side. Okay. So for now, we will just transition over. Right, welcome back. Welcome back. We've had a short break, and thank you for joining us. We are live on Facebook. We are live on our website. We are live through our apps, and I would like to say a special welcome to Radio Ramadan Leicester, Radio Ramadan London. Thank you for joining in, and I believe you are listening into our show. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions or if you want to get in touch with us live, we have our WhatsApp number. Liba, what is our WhatsApp number?
Say it properly.
No.
Okay. 07440 420 432.
So Radio Ramadan Leicester and Radio Ramadan London. Just to let you know, we have a special guest, Liba. She is our very special. You come on, Liba. You've got your own show. She's got to tell them about your show.
Tell them about my show. Okay, so every Saturday on Ramadan Radio, 3 to 4 p.m. I do a show called Teens Talk Show with my host Shireen Galani, and what we talk about is things like topics that are not discussed about our generation, or they are talked about the older generation. So what we do with this platform is we talk about it, and we want people to feel comfortable talking about issues that aren't spoken about. And right now we're doing a bullying series. So we're on next week we'll be on episode 3, and what we will do, we'll get a police officer in, so that'll be our guest.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So guys, back to your show. Off you go, Doha.
Okay, so we were talking about Muhammad Ali. So in the eyes of many civil rights leaders who are about the business of proving that black people belonged as full-fledged citizens, black athletes were supposed to be credits to the race, dignified and not showy. Muhammad Ali rejected all of that.
As skeptical reporters pressed him about his religion and his name, the new champ refused to back down. I don't have to be who you want me to be. I'm free to be who I want, he said. And I think this is quite a powerful statement, because he's saying here that he's not going to be someone who the media wants him to be, because he's a different colour to them. He's not going to change himself because it's his own choice. He's free to be who he wants to be.
That's right.
That's true. Changing his names to Muhammad Ali, he was attracted to the religion when he joined the black movement known as Nation of Islam that was founded in 1930s by Wallace D. Fard Muhammad.
The youngest world heavyweight boxer converted to Islam at 22 years old in 1964 after his victory over Liston. Ali was initially affiliated with the Nation of Islam and had close relations with fellow African American Muslims and human rights activist Malcolm X to promote Islam and defend black rights in the country.
Muhammad Ali's conversion to Islam in many ways defined his career and legacy as a fighter with conviction. He went on to become an icon for American Muslims.
Just years following his conversion in 1964, he got into a fight that promoted him to write down some reflections on what drew him to the faith in the first place. It wasn't a fight in the boxing ring, but an argument at home with his wife Belinda. Ali was out of control, Belinda said. He had lost all traces of humility. He was acting like he was God. You may call yourself the greatest, she told him, but you'll never be greater than Allah.
Like a school teacher, Belinda instructed Ali to sit down and write an essay. He asked him to write about why he became a Muslim. Ali obliged, taking out a blank sheets of paper and a blue pen and beginning to write.
In the letter, it said he saw a man handing out paper for the Nation of Islam. Ali took the newspaper, mostly to be polite, but a cartoon caught his eye. It showed a white slave owner beating his black slave and insisting the man pray to Jesus. The message was that Christianity was a religion forced on slaves by the white establishment. I liked that cartoon, Ali wrote. It did something to me and it made sense.
It's interesting that Ali didn't answer his wife by writing in spiritual terms about why Islam attracted him. The cartoon awakened him, and he realized that he hadn't chosen Christianity. He hadn't chosen the name. Guys, I can't say his name.
Cassius
Clay.
Cassius Clay. Okay. He hadn't chosen the name Cassius Clay. So why did he have to keep those vestiges of slavery? And if he didn't have to keep his religion or his name, what else could he change? So I think here it's important. I mean, guys, what do you think about this like the fact that he hadn't chosen the name.
So it's that, and it's also what's it called? The name Amina is going to mention about the background of the name, but basically I think it's really important because it showed like it's like this cartoon. It showed what was actually happening in that time, and how all these like slaves. Amina is going to mention. Sorry,
Yeah, okay, guys. I'll just tell you. So
yeah.
this is something we were discussing before our show, that when black slaves were brought over from like Africa or wherever they were brought over from to America, they had changed. Their white slave owners changed their name to a Christian name because many of these people before were Muslim or were from other religions. And they weren't like whatever their white people's religion was. So their white slave owners changed their names in a way to make them fit in. So the white slave owners gave the black slaves names such as like general names that were common in the time. Because
Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith, Mr. Black, those kind of names.
Those kind of names.
And like Cassius Marcus Clay.
Clay.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think because I've read a book about this and that's how I know mainly. And it was about a black slave who was captured by white slave owners and brought over to America. And he was treated really, really badly. And then his kids were treated badly because they were slave owners and their kids. And it leads on until the guy who actually wrote the book. So you can see that it's like slavery hadn't left them because it's like someone who was brought over and then his son and then his grandson and then his carries on.
Yeah, and like you were saying how it carries on. I have some black friends, how they say that their grandparents did. They like came here and because they were slaves and everything, and like they're still like my friends still like they don't like it, that they feel like it happened to them even though they didn't because they were born here.
But you understand
they just don't like it.
The thing is, people don't believe that's the reality, but it really is.
It was
like when
it
you
wasn't
hear
that
it,
long
you're like
ago.
exactly. It was like we mentioned last week. It was only like less than 100 years ago, and
that's not
and
that long
the
ago.
thing we were going to mention next week about slavery, but the thing that is the slavery and all racism is still the same as it was before. The only difference now is that we have cameras to film it. And even like I saw this interview about the George Floyd thing. This lady, she was filming it. And she was black herself, so she was like really upset because she didn't know. She just filming it, and everyone was like, why wasn't the filmer person doing anything? She was like, I was scared. She couldn't do anything in case the police went and did something to her as well.
Well, let me stop you. I mean, a lot of these videos are coming out, but what's happening is they're not allowed to. So the police are asking you not to intervene. The only thing you can do, so basically it's an incident. For the police, it's an incident. It could be a crime of some sort. They're apprehending the person. Now, the way they're going around apprehending them is the issue here, right? They're using brutal force. And in England as well. So let's put it in context that they are apprehending them, but then they don't want all 20 people who you guys are watching, whoever the ones behind the camera are, to get involved, and because then they're going to arrest you as well. So this is what's happening. Then people, they the best they can do. Verbally stop them and stop them, stop shouting or whatever they're doing, or now they're taking out their phones and taking the cameras out, and that's what's happening.
And obviously because they're filming it, this is spreading the awareness, and this is how so many people know about the George Floyd incident, and that's why we have, it's worldwide protests going on due to his death, which was obviously.
I would like to also mention something else. The thing is that there's a lot of incidents that happen like George Floyd. This is only caught awareness now because someone did film it. But imagine how, like, let's say some little robbery happened, or someone was accused that this happened, or things like this happened, and a police came, a white police guy who was racist towards black people. He came and he just shot the guy in the alleyway. No one saw, but he was being racist because he didn't like them. He just went and did that. And there's so many incidents that happen like this that aren't filmed. And now that George Floyd incident happened, now people are creating more awareness and everyone knows more. So, Amina?
See, people were shouting at the girl who filmed it, But if that wasn't filmed, none of this would have happened. George Floyd justice wouldn't have been served.
Exactly.
Like the millions of other people that haven't been served.
It's highlighting. This is just one. Obviously, we're not saying that other lives don't matter. This is just one of many incidents in America's history. Is becoming a little bit of history there that are coming to light over these years. Many incidents, but this is one other, and it is getting the kind of light that we want. We've seen protests in locally in
West Park.
West
Yeah,
Park.
West
yeah,
Park.
West Park on last Sunday.
We were
And-
going to go, but then we had the
There
radio
wasn't
thing.
it wasn't I mean there was no violence there, and
It was
so it
peaceful,
can
yeah.
be shown that protests can be peaceful and you still get your point across.
But
there.
the thing is, when there are like not peaceful protests, it's for a reason that there's no peaceful protests, because they don't just want to. Yeah, we're showing justice, but they want to actually physically do something about it. They want to say to the police people, this is not alright. And I saw a video. There was actually loads of white and mixed different police. They were showing remorse for
Support.
George
Yeah.
Floyd.
Support.
Like, not everyone's the same. Like, we like say that not all Muslims are the same, not all black people are the same.
Not all white
It's like
people are
all
the same.
not
Not
all
all white,
not all the
exactly.
police people are the same. Like, they know that what they did were wrong, but it was that one guy or
Yeah.
a few guys that
There
are
was
the same,
four.
that are like that. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to mention another book that I read. I read a lot of books, and it was about the same, about police brutality, and it was about this young boy, only 16. I don't think it was based on a true story, but the concept of it was really good. And he was shot by a white police officer he was told to get out of his car, and he didn't.
Not
But it's by the same author. And he was told to get out of his car. He was getting out of his car, and his friend was also in the car with him. And he went to check on her, and he then got a hairbrush out, and the policeman went and shot him 3 times, and he died. And so the story basically is based around this one girl and how it impacts her, because that was her best friend, and
There's
how
a film about that, I think.
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
film. I
the
watched
hate you
the
give.
film.
Yeah. It's a book as well. It was a book first, and that's just how it affects people, and how it affects not just like if one black person is killed for doing like nothing, or for being accused of doing something, being convicted wrongly, basically, then think about how many other black people the same age could think that could be my reality. That could
And
be
it's
me
like
the
it's
next
like
day.
the little kids our age, like if they were a white person, if they like, I saw this thing, there was this girl, she went to her graduation with a gun on her back. Gun on her back, and the police were there. They did nothing. She obviously she wasn't gonna use it, but she just had the gun on her back, and there was also nothing happened to her. But this little black kid, he had a toy gun, and I think they either shot him or they arrested him because he had a toy gun, which I think is unacceptable. And one thing I was mentioning, Amina was mentioning, there's also this BBC iPlayer series, Noughts and Crosses, and it talks about how this black girl falls in love with a white boy, and how they knew each other from kids, and they were perfectly fine because they weren't racist, and they knew, but now they're scared to be seen together and everything, and they end up having a child together, and it's so sad because it's sad reality, because he gets killed because her parents find out, and because he was white, they're like it's like upsetting. And what they've done in this series is they've made the black people more superior than the white people. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Right, girls, fantastic topic, very interesting. We are getting messages through our systems for entering the competition. So those of you who are there, we are putting your names in the hat. Actually, it's my hat. I've tried to take it off my head. So fair enough. What do we have lined up in the last segment of our show then,
We
girls?
are going to share some famous quotes from Muhammad Ali that really impact. They have a great meaning behind them, and we're just going to talk about them.
Fantastic.
So,
if you do that.
Here we go. So he said, "I am America." Clay will proudly pronounce. He was like, "I am the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident. My name, not yours. My religion, not yours. My goals, my own. Get used to me." I really like this saying because it tells us that Muhammad Ali, he didn't really care about anyone's opinion. He wanted to be who he chose to be, and he didn't want what everyone else wanted him to be, because like he was a famous boxer and everyone had their own idea of who they wanted him to be, and he wasn't like that. So.
And the same as, I think we said that before, didn't we? When he said that I'm not going to be who you want me to be. So he wasn't going to change himself for other people, which
And
I
I think that's
was
the
really,
mindset that we all should
we
have.
all should definitely
like
have.
how
yeah.
we all face racism, how we wear scarf. We're not going to change us.
We're not going to take it off.
Exactly.
You
just
tell
'cause-
me take it off, I'm not taking it off.
Exactly. Just because you say that,
just-
you don't like it, or you don't want us
Yeah.
to wear it, we're not going to change
No.
it.
It
because
just
this is
fuels
what
us
we want.
more. Fuels
Yeah,
us more.
that-
To
I
not,
feel like
because I
that's
feel like I'm not going to have someone else
completely true.
tell me what to do.
Exactly.
Another quote that we had was, I think someone who was close to him said this about him, saying he would ask things like, why is Tarzan white and the king of the jungle? He would ask why the media would beautify everything white and do the opposite with everything black. This came at a time when black men were not supposed to stand straight and look white people in the eye. So this shows, like, I'm presuming here that he was a young kid when he asked these kind of questions. And this shows the normalization of racism here, that it was so normal for like to beautify everything that's white and do the opposite of everything that was black. And then if you really think about it, think how a black kid would feel.
Yeah,
think how a black kid would feel at because of the color of their skin, they're being treated really, really differently.
And also, I saw this film. There was this little girl. Her dad had to explain to her some racist thing happened to her in school as a little child. She must have been 5-6 years old, and her dad had to explain to her why other people would be rude and be racist to her just because of her skin color. And she was like, why can't I change what I look like? It was so upsetting because she was like, why can't I be white and they'll treat me the same and stuff.
Yeah, I saw a video like that as well. It wasn't a film, it was a video, and it was a girl. I think she was only 6 years old, and she was crying, saying I could be killed because of the color of my skin. And that's really upsetting because it's a small child, and if you think about it, they have this thing going through their head saying I could be killed because I'm darker than my classmates.
This 6-year-old,
she knows so much about the outside world.
That's not what they're supposed to be thinking now. Like,
if you think we're really lucky to be been sheltered from that, and I think lucky to not have faced racism like that, because if you think about obviously right now it's really big right now,
like,
and kids kids who are
thinking
about, kids who would be looking at the news and thinking about saying, okay, if he was black and he was killed, I am black, I could be killed as well for doing nothing.
The next quote is, I don't have to be who you want me to be, I am free to be who I want. And we mentioned this one before. So Muhammad Ali said this when he was getting interviewed, and the interviewer first said, are you a card-carrying Muslim? To which he replied, what does this mean? Card-carrying Muslim. I'm decent, I don't smoke, I don't drink. What's the big deal? Don't you understand, in this world, which is a jungle, the red birds have to stay with the red birds and the blue birds with the blue birds. He made an absolute case for segregation. People have to stay with their own. They shouldn't go where they're not wanted. But Muhammad Ali wanted to make a change to this, and he did this by then saying, I don't have to be who you want me to be. I am free to be who I want. And that was the Athletic Declaration of Independence. He did and said what no athlete has ever done so publicly before, because at that time, American athletes had always been more or less there to work for the establishment. But then again, Muhammad Ali did the opposite and spoke out on what he truly believed in.
He was a very strong and inspirational speaker. If I can just share a little clip of him with you guys and our listeners. Hopefully we should be able to get that.
Get ready to meet God. Owning real estate. What am I going to do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do? Get ready to meet God. Owning real estate, going in business, teaching boxers, that won't get me to heaven. God is watching me. God don't praise me because I beat Joe Frazier. God don't care nothing about England or America as far as your wealth is all his. He wants to know, how do we treat each other? How do we help each other? So I'm going to dedicate my life to using my name and popularity, helping charities, helping people, uniting people, bring people bumming each other because of religious beliefs. We need somebody in the world to help us make peace. So when I die, if there's a heaven, I want to see it. Because we live how long? 80 years? The odds are everybody in this room, some of you are going to be dead 20 years from now. Some of you are going to be dead 50 years from now. Some are going to be dead 30, and some are going to be dead 60, 70 years from now. We all going to die soon. So this is a test to see where will we spend our life in heaven or hell. This is not the life now. Your real self is inside you. Your body gets old. Some of you go to look at the fridge, you don't have no teeth. Your hair is leaving you. Your bodies get tired. But your soul and your spirit never die. That's going to live forever. So your body is just housing your soul and spirit. So God is testing us on how we treat each other, how we live, to see where our real home be in heaven. So this physical stuff don't last for so long. So my car, this building is going to be here when the man who built it dead. There have been many kings and queens of England. They're all dead. After this one is gone, another one will come. So we don't stay here. We're just trustees. We don't own nothing. Even your children are not yours. If you think I'm lying, your wife is not yours. You don't own your children. You don't own your family. So what am I saying? The most important thing about life is what's going to happen when you die. Are you going to go to heaven or hell? And that's eternity. How long is eternity? So what am I going to do when I'm through fighting? I only have 16 years to be productive, get myself ready to meet God and go to the best place. Don't that make sense? Thank you.
So that was a fantastic, inspirational speech and talk about from Muhammad Ali. Who? What do you guys make of that?
I think this is really important because he's trying to create awareness. Like he's trying to say that if you want to go to heaven, you've got to find a way. You can't just, how he was saying, you can't just teach people stuff and be a boxer and stuff like that. You've got to focus on how you can make yourself a better person, and that if you go to heaven, so Jannah, inshallah, you'll be in the best possible way that you can go to see.
Yeah, and I think another thing that he did say was that God didn't care about his boxing. God only cared about whether he had been a good person and lived up to the responsibilities that came with being a believer. And I think that applies to everyone, that Allah doesn't care about how much money you earned or what you had in this world. All he cared about was your taqwa and your piety and how you were as a person and how you were as a Muslim. And I think he really summarized that really, really well.
Yeah, he also said that this world is a test and that what we get in the hereafter will be determined by what we do now. And by him making that video has taught so many Muslims around the world and non-Muslims.
And the thing is, even non-Muslims, because Muhammad Ali was like a very famous boxer, and maybe they were like super fans who would probably listen to everything he would say. So maybe he must have touched some people's hearts, and said stuff to them, and they must have realized that maybe what he's saying is right. And
Yeah, and I think another thing that was like really important about him just in general was, I think we've mentioned it quite a few times now, that he didn't change himself for anyone else.
Yeah.
So for example, because he was such a famous boxer, and maybe they didn't in that time, they didn't expect maybe a black person or a Muslim to be such a famous person, and they would have tried to make him change, and he didn't. He stayed as he was, and he tried to promote, obviously, against people being racist, and he stood up for black people, he stood up for Muslims, and that was really inspirational about him, and I think we should all learn something from that.
Yeah, he didn't do what people wanted him to do, he did what Allah wanted him to do.
And that's what it really comes down to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If we can be strong enough to follow Allah's commandments, because this is what he's actually done, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's talking about his life and how he spends his, let's say, assume 80 years of our lives, how many years we end up sleeping, how many years we end up eating, how many years we're doing this. So basically he gave a little bit of a breakdown, and he is inspiration to us still. I do look up to him. A lot of my friends and my cousins who are very into Muhammad Ali, and quite rightly, he did his boxing. But it wasn't just boxing. It was a lot more to him, wasn't it? So from what we just heard, it's a fantastic, he's dedicating his life to Islam fully and truly.
I think boxing was just a like what he wanted to do, but I think him being a boxer made more people want to listen to him and stuff like that.
Like boxing was his career, and behind a career, everyone has their personality.
Yeah, he had his personal life behind his career, and his personal life was Islam, and Islam is what made it, in a way, made him who he was later on in his life. Yeah. And he really did. He followed the guidelines of Islam, the Quran, and the teachings of the Prophet.
And he made that known. He was proud of his.
He was definitely proud.
He was a boxer, and obviously there's like loads of boxers. But what made him special, that he was true to himself. Like there's loads of like celebrities, loads of people who will like just be what you want them to be.
The media wants them to be.
And he was like, I don't care what you guys want me to be. I will be who I want. And then because he was being who he wanted, he actually got more people wanted to know why he was.
And
like
that's why
this and
people.
everything.
Well, it wasn't just what he wanted. He actually he fully accepted what the Islamic, guidance wants, and that's where his power came from, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, guys, it comes to our natural end to our show. Sadly, if you guys are listening, we have the lovely girls here in the studio. If you want them back again, do share us. Drop us a comment on our Facebook and let us know. And then hopefully we can get the trio back over the coming weeks. We're going to have a whole new level of presenters as well, coming in and going, all youngsters. And if you are listening, if parents are listening, and you want to get involved, or your children to be involved, do drop us a line. You're on our Facebook. And so, Amina, what other social medias are we on?
We have a website, Ramadan Radio Wolves. We're on Instagram,
Fantastic.
Ramadan Radio Wolves.
And Facebook.
He said Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Facebook.
Come on, guys.
What else do we have?
We have an email.
We have an email.
And the apps. Yeah, those
Oh, yeah, and the app.
apps.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We have international listeners, and I've seen people coming up on the line online from where were they, Amina? Where we got tuning in from?
I mean, my family should be tuning in.
From Saudi. We got
From
Saudi
Saudi.
listeners, we got American listeners. Right, girls, we have to come to a natural. We have to come to an end. Anything you'd like to say very quickly?
Thanks for having us,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
We actually have so
Jazakallah.
much fun be here next time. Inshallah, we'll get Liba again. with this,
Inshallah.
yeah.
If you need Liba, let's get some votes for Liba to come back on with us, right?
I'm just not here anymore, guys.
The thing is, me and Amina can always come. Like,
I just
I
needed
have
some
no life
sympathy.
basically, so I could come in.
I needed some sympathy.
No, why do you need sympathy? Right, ladies.
I like sympathy.
Right, ladies, look, we are going to come to the end. So, assalamu alaikum to our
Assalamu
listeners.
alaikum.
And we'll catch you again, same time, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, no, not 8
Every
o'clock.
Sunday, 4 till 6. You guys, keep in touch and wait for our other shows that are coming on every Sunday. So take care. Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye for now.